I think one of the things that I love about what you guys are doing, and I've sort of seen the scope of the product, and I think implicit in it is a vision for, digital corporations, and what does it mean to actually run a digitally native corporation and have more and more of what you do managed on chain. What is your vision there? Do you think, as we look out over time, do more and more of the machinations of corporations through the combination of things like digital securities, stablecoin infrastructure, blockchains, does more and more of what a corporation is move on chain?
So if I think about, the first time I was a CEO, I was 29 years old, and it was late 90s. And at that time, managing a startup was a bit of a drama because you didn't have tools to actually manage the company digitally, right? We didn't have people manually. We didn't have, good communication methods. We didn't have good accounting systems and ERPs and things like that. So fast forward now when I started Securitize, it is amazing how many tools are for managing your corporation digitally, but there is a percentage of the things there that are still not fully digital. Like the way we manage cash in companies, it is not digital. And for us, it's a nightmare. We have multiple bank accounts for different purposes that need to be reconciled, and etc. So that's one thing. Obviously, you can manage your securities digitally today. You can just get something from La Carta, but that only solves part of the problem because it doesn't actually allow for trading. It doesn't allow for asset servicing and some of the things that securities do in a simple way, and it's not integrated with the ecosystem of other tools that are happening on the blockchain. And then, as you mentioned, governance, it is kind of like the next step. I think we're already building it in governance tools for securities, but for the entire company, and this promise of like these DAOs that will allow people to manage their companies on the blockchain is probably a few years away, but it's definitely where towards the direction we're going.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's exciting. And as you said earlier, when some of these innovations happened, like digital music, or whatever, like no one could really even imagine all the things that people would do. And I think that's definitely a space where there's a bunch of converging things happening and capabilities, and entrepreneurs are going to go build amazing things.
I think that the issue with digital securities as opposed to of digital music is that, digital music is an unregulated market. And when Spotify started, I remember they were doing peer-to-peer transfer.
It was regulated by 4 companies, basically, originally.
Well, self-regulated if you want. But I remember, you probably remember because you were working on video streaming at that time, but when Spotify started, they were doing peer-to-peer streaming because there was no good streaming infrastructure. And that worked better than centralized streaming, but it didn't work very well. And half of the time when you use Spotify, you couldn't actually get the song. Yeah. And it's not a major drama, right? But for us working on financial services, if your USDC doesn't work and you can't pay, or if your securities disappear because you've done issue correctly or things like that, this actually has a big financial impact, and it's a highly regulated market. And I think
higher stakes.
It's a higher stake. So, but this is also why it's taking longer for these things to adopt. Like for us in the technology industry, I'm sure you've seen 100 times this typical presentation from consultants saying, "Oh, every single new innovation gets adopted faster." Well, this one is not, because this one has an implication in the world.
A little more friction there.
It will take a little bit longer, but the same way that fintech has penetrated other parts of the financial services industry, I'm 100% convinced it will penetrate, securities and capital markets, and it will completely transform them.